On and tag down all the way around. This is the final stretch. It's over after this.
With the sun setting for the night, the last weld is completed, and a major piece of the build can now be checked off the to-do list.
That was it, boys. That's the last one right there.
Yeah, the last weld.
But there is still one important piece of information they need to know before shipping the chassis back to the island, and that's how heavy this beast has become. They place the chassis on the scale, and it certainly brings the bulk, weighing in at 486 pounds, much heavier than their goal of 400 pounds. But with no way to trim the fat and no time to rebuild, Terry puts a positive spin on it.
Structurally, the thing is absolutely fantastic. We know we're not going to have any safety issues whatsoever. It's a bit on the heavy side, but we got the job done.
As the first week of the build comes to an end, the chassis rolls its way over to the island, and the guys run in for their first look at the assembled frame of their advanced ATV.
Oh, this thing is big.
Yo, hey.
It looks like a massive vehicle.
With his robotic sixth sense tuned in, Zaz picks up right away that something is amiss.
It looks really heavy.
It's about, well, what did we figure it was?
486 pounds, right?
The weight has really got me worried, I have to say. We specified a maximum chassis weight of 400 pounds. On the CAD model, it looked more like 350. It's come back now, it's 486. That is a big difference.
At 486 pounds, the 6x6 might not be able to take a single step.
We could really have drivetrain problems here. If worst comes to worst, this vehicle might not even stand up. And if it can't even stand up, it's not going to go anywhere.
Coming up, the carbon fiber legs are put through the ringer. But it's Mike that ends up worse for wear. And later, emergency brain surgery is needed.
It's dead right now. The brains are gone.
Will this build ever come to life?
There is absolutely no way we can get this vehicle to walk. It's the brain. The guys at Prototype This are out to reinvent the wheel by building the world's first six-legged, human-driven walking machine. Every vehicle needs a power source. And for a unique beast like the 6x6, a custom power system will be essential. So up in the lair, Joe is working on a one-of-a-kind battery management system, which he explains in an inside look at battery technology.
Our all-terrain legged vehicle is electric, so it needs to run on batteries. The problem with the traditional car battery is that it's heavy and gives us a short runtime. So I've spec'd these cutting-edge, brand-new battery cells from International Battery. Chemistry is lithium iron phosphate, and these things are starting to be used in all sorts of electric vehicles, and they're really prized for their lightweight and high power output. The problem is that these are just individual battery cells, not a full battery. To make all these cells into a full working battery, we need to have a battery management system. That's a set of electronics that monitors the charging and the discharging. But these things are so new that we can't just go buy a battery management system off the shelf. So guess who has to build one? And it has to be really precise. It has to work perfectly. If the charging current is too much, these batteries could explode. If the charging current is too low, the batteries won't charge. And if the discharge voltage gets below a certain level, these things could be destroyed forever. It's been a lonely time here in the lair, but I have my first assembled custom circuit board.
With his first completed power system module in hand, Joe now needs to run some tests to make sure it will work as planned. First, Joe checks to see if he can control the battery's level of discharge.
So it's hovering 3.7 is the max. It works.
But all that goes out must come back in. So Joe moves on to see if his custom circuit boards can charge the cells properly as well. Mixing batteries and electronics always has the potential for danger. That being said, the worst that could happen here is a bit of smoke and sparks. But never the toughest guy in the neighborhood, Jumpy Joe cautiously flips the switch. And to his relief, a red light appears, signaling that the battery is charging.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is one battery that's getting a charge right now with my custom battery management circuit board. Big relief. The battery management system works. Now all I have to do is build 31 more. Help!
Last week, Zaz and Hal conducted a successful test, which proved the combination of drivetrain and brains from Hal's little Rex could control a mock-up leg. So now, with 5 days left in the build, Zaz is in the warehouse getting ready to install all 6 of his drivetrains to the chassis.
We're putting everything onto the chassis for the first time. Motors go to gearboxes. They bolt onto the chassis.
Before long, Zaz has put on the finishing touches, powers up the first one, and it starts to sing.
Beautiful.
Filled with the sound of mechanical music, the guys take a minuet to explain more about how the drivetrains tune up.
The leg attaches to this. Kind of like the knee bone.
And a 1, and a 2, and a...
The knee bone's connected to the thigh bone. The thigh bone's connected to the hip joint. The hip joint's connected to the hip bone. The hip bone's connected to the motor. The motor's connected to the encoder. And that's how the drivetrain goes. And that's how it all gets put together.
With the drivetrains assembled, the last piece of this jigsaw puzzle is adding the legs. Last week, Mike went to Finish Line Composites, where 150 layers of carbon fiber were bonded together in this huge autoclave. Slow cooked to perfection, the legs were then cut by Dr. Carbon Fiber himself, much to Mike's delight.
We got legs!
But before the legs can be trusted to carry the heavier than expected 6x6, they've got to be tested. So, back on the island, the guys run the legs through some impromptu durability tests to see just how strong the carbon fiber limbs really are.
I ain't doing it because they ain't going to make it.
It's a leg vehicle!
But testing turns to horseplay, and the legs win. Mike gets bucked right off.
So, I think that we've determined that the leg is plenty strong.